remember when I was in school, when I was in university, we do something we call clinical ward round. Towards our final year, we begin to follow doctors in the hospital to the ward where they treat patients. We follow them from patient to patient. So one day, and while we are doing that, the professor, the man is a chief consultant and a professor of medicine. Those are two things he carried. He's a professor and a chief consultant. So he was. So while we were in front of a patient, this is a man that will tell a doctor, he will tell a younger doctor, he said, you don't know anything. You do want to kill this patient? You'll be asking them in the presence of the patient. The man, they call him lion. When he enters the ward, doctors will be shivering. Not patients, doctors will be shivering when the man enters the ward. And this man asked us a question. He said, so what do you think is here? He asked us, what do you advise? What medication? He asked us. And all of us were looking at him. Oh God, we'll never reach that level. The man said, go and look at your textbook and look for the answer and tell me now. Hey, we're in trouble. Fortunately for us, one of our classmates had a textbook. So we huddled around her textbook. Sharp. In the ward, patients were looking at us. I wonder how the patients will be wanting to think, this one's what I mean. They are checking textbook inside the ward. When we checked, we thought we found an answer. And we came back to tell him the answer. Sir, this is the answer. And the man looked at us. He said, that is a challenge with your generation. You lack knowledge and you don't know where to get knowledge. Hey. We were wondering, we said, why would the man speak to us like that? So one of the junior consultants, that one too was a consultant, but he was a junior consultant. That one now came to us and said, that book you consulted, the book was written by two of his students. So I now realize that I could have learned more from this man than that book that we went to consult. The book was written by two of his students. The people he thought wrote the book. But here is the man himself that taught them. So that's why when we are looking at the writing of Peter, we should pay attention. This man is like a professor of medicine and a chief consultant of medicine. So if he's talking about the issue of our identity, it means there's a serious need for you and I to comprehend our identity. So he continued, he left off in chapter 1, he continued in chapter 2. And he said from chapter 2, let's go at verse 4. He said, coming to him as to a living stone. Is somebody following me? I said you should follow me. Rejected indeed by men, but chosen by God. So he said we are coming to him as to a living stone. He's describing Jesus as a living stone. Rejected indeed by men, but chosen by God and precious. He's describing Jesus to us. He said, you also as living stones. You also. You also as living stones are being built up a spiritual house. You are not just a living stone. You are being built up as what? A spiritual house. So when you are in this great house and you are still comfortable living a life as a vessel unto dishonor, it's because you don't know you're coming into his great house. You don't know the opportunity and what potential you are carrying. You are ignorant of it, and the devil plays with your ignorance.